About 2 years ago, I went trick-or-treating with my younger siblings. One of them went as the Batman, and the other as Chucky. It was the third year in a row that I was going with them. To be honest, I enjoyed it as much as them, and they used to share their candy with me. We had already been to around 20 houses, and we were in an area where the crowd of kids and parents was already thinning. Our bags were pretty heavy already, and had just visited half the places we expected. I talked to the kids about going back home and split our share. I always tricked them into giving me more than we have agreed, and since they didn't know very well about fractions, they believed that a third was more than half, and I knew that I would have enough candy for at least a month. This time, however, they did not fall for my ruse and demanded to go to the planned places as we have agreed before leaving home. As we started to move to the area where less people were, a group of men were sitting in a corner. They were all drinking and wearing the costume used on the movie A Clockwork Orange. When they spotted us, they fell silent and followed us with their eyes. We arrived in the fair house and got some more candy. Then we went into the second and got some more. As we left for the third, I realized that the men were no longer talking and actually were no longer on the corner. They were at the second house we just left, standing around and staring straight at us. I thought fast and called my parents. I told them that some weird guys were following us and we needed to be picked up ASAP. When I looked back at them, they were slowly coming towards us, dancing and singing in the rain, just like in the movie. The kids saw them, and by their looks, they thought it was some kind of show that the guys were performing. They stopped and started to clap and sing with the lyrics. I grabbed them by the arm and started to walk away. They saw the fear on my face and realized there was something wrong. Unluckily for us, the area was almost empty because most of the kids had already returned back to their homes, and the direction we were heading was completely deserted. Each passing second, they advanced faster and faster towards us, singing louder and grinning maliciously. We moved quickly towards the house, and to catch the attention of the people inside, we rang the bell and asked for treats, but they turned off the lights. We then ran to the next house and asked again, but we received no answer. Meanwhile, the men were still dancing and approaching faster every moment, until a honk horn in the street and made them move away to let it pass. It was my father, who had come as quickly as he could. We actually lived 3 blocks away, and perhaps 2 or 3 minutes had passed since I called him, but those were the 3 longest minutes of our lives. As we entered the car and drove away, one man, the one who seemed to be the leader, stared at me maliciously and bowed as if they had just finished their act. I was home alone on Halloween because my family went to a party and I decided to stay behind. I thought I had enough candy to give away to the kids who came, and some for me too. That year was a particularly agitated one. I was expecting a lot of kids, however, I ran out of everything despite not having eaten so much as a candy bar. Later, I found out that around the corner there was a costume contest and came many more kids than usual. I ran out of everything around 9:30 p.m., but I was sure no one else would be arriving to ask for candy. Parents were very protective around here, and they don't let kids to be outside after 10. However, at 11:30, someone called at the door. They didn't ask for trick or treat, so I thought my parents had arrived. When I opened the door, I found this man of at least 6'5", all dressed in a butcher's costume, or at least I thought it was. His white apron was bloody, had a knife on one hand, and his face was hidden behind a mask. My initial reaction was of shock. I even yelled, but then laughed at myself. It was after all Halloween. I told the man that I had run out of treats, and there was nothing I could give him. The man did nothing. All I could hear was his breathing behind the mask, and his chest moving up and down. I moved a step back and told him that he needed to go. The man remained silent, but his breathing picked up. He suddenly attempted to move forward, but I reacted quickly. I closed the door and shouted that he had to go, or I would call the police. I looked through the peephole of the door and saw the man in the same spot. He remained there for a few moments before walking away. I turned off all the lights and went to the second floor. When I got to my bedroom, which incidentally points to the backyard, I picked up my phone and called my sister, asking her at what time they were coming. She told me that they had already left and would be at home in about 10 minutes. I didn't know why I was so scared. It was Halloween and probably someone had played a prank on me. Nevertheless, whoever it was had gone way over the line. I went to my window to catch some fresh air, and there he was. The same man dressed as a butcher with his mask and the knife on his right hand. He was not moving or anything, but looking straight at me. He pointed me with the knife and dropped it on the grass, and then left. My parents arrived 2 minutes later. I told them everything that happened and showed them the knife. We called immediately the police, who arrived 10 minutes later. They heard everything I had to say and took the knife for analysis, but told me that probably it was a joke that someone played on me. The next day, the blood test showed that it was a pig's, but no fingerprints were found. So far, I don't really know if it was a joke or someone with obscure intentions that had come to our house. But one thing is sure, I don't stay home alone at Halloween anymore. I will never forget what happened to me when I was 10. I went trick-or-treating alone with my friends in our neighborhood. Nowadays you might think that it was dangerous, but those were other times, or so we thought. We knew everyone in our street, and all the kids got together and went in a group to every house on the block. That way, everyone knew where everyone was at any given moment. We had just finished on our block when we decided that we were big enough and we should go to the next block to ask for more treats. The thing is that between our block and the next, there was a long way. The neighborhood was still under construction, and we needed to walk 300 yards to the next group of houses. In between, there was a huge area with nothing built. In our eagerness to get more candy, we all went without thinking much, chatting happily. As we walked, we saw a man and a woman next to a can with a fire lit. They were eyeing us as we got closer and closer. The moment we were right in front of them, the man spoke. "Hello, children. Did you want some candy?" We all nodded vigorously and grinned. Then the woman spoke. "Well, we have lots of candy, but we have them at our truck. Do you see it? It's way back there." She was pointing with a shaky hand to a very old truck about 100 yards behind them, perpendicular to the direction we were heading initially. We all yelled in eagerness and told them to take us there for the candy. They put jackets and hoodies over their heads and guided us there. After 3 minutes of walking, the man entered the truck and started the engine. The woman opened the back doors and gestured inside. "The candies are inside. Who would like to come in first?" I was the tallest of the lot, so I pushed my way to the front. When I was about to get in, I heard the sound of honks, tires screeching, and people yelling. I turned around and 6 cars were coming full speed to the place where we were. The man yelled something I don't remember, and the woman entered the truck on the back seat. He stepped on the gas, and they escaped. Our parents took everyone home and asked us what had happened. Of course, my parents told me off for going away without permission, and I was grounded for 4 months. I didn't really understand what had happened until a few years ago, when I asked my parents about that event. They told me that the police were actively searching for 2 people that had been kidnapping kids for a few months, and that they expected them to make a move on Halloween. 2 days later, thanks to our description, they were caught 500 miles away, on the same old truck with 2 kids on the back seat. The kids were fine, just dehydrated and had not eaten in a couple of days. That could have been me, and my destiny could have been far worse.
If you reached this far, please give us a like, consider subscribing, activate notifications, and follow us on social media. Soon, we'll be back with more Inside the Cleft of Dimensions.